The information shared on this program is for general informational purposes only. It is not intended as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice, nor as a recommendation of any specific investment product or financial instrument. Always consult your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant regarding your own situation. All client reviews or spotlight segments are unpaid testimonials from current clients of Tony Walker Financial. Individual experiences will vary, are not representative of all clients, and are not a guarantee of future results or success.
Wondering how much money you'll need to comfortably retire? Well, according to recent studies on this very question, you're not alone.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money. The Worry-Free Retirement with your host, six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Over the past few years, I've broadcast the fact that according to government statistics and census numbers, it is estimated that each day more than 11,000 red-blooded Americans are turning 65, mainly due to the fact that we baby boomers are getting older as more and more of us enter this thing called retirement, which might explain why many of you are getting bombarded with invitations and ads to plan for your retirement and pitches to move your 401k over to advisors hungry, no pun intended, for your business. And of all those offers to handle your retirement, the three most important questions weighing on the minds of savers are these. Our first question was, what should a saver expect to pay in the way of taxes in retirement? But today we're covering number two, which is how much money does one need to comfortably retire, which is the topic of today's show. So let's get started. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. So let's assume you are a financial advisor, maybe a large insurance company, or work for a large custodian of many of the 401k plans out there. If you were in need of more money to invest, where might be a good place to go looking for it? Well, if you want the most bang for your buck, you'd certainly consider finding these 12,000 savers who are turning 65 each day, right? The problem, though, how do you get in front of all these savers to pitch them on why you need to be handling their money? Well, one way to pull it off is by simply bombarding their mailboxes with free dinner seminar ads and the latest ploy to get in front of savers, pseudo nonprofit invitations from advisors holding court in local libraries and, get this, universities. All again with one goal in mind, and that is to try to get you to turn over your life savings to them. That's it. Now, including in their marketing of the top three questions on the minds of retirees is this one. The question we will answer today, how much money will I need to retire comfortably? You know, it's because of these three questions that more than 20 years ago, I created the only process in the country that was dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, something I call the Worry-Free Retirement. It's a unique 5-step process which includes our own proprietary income software and, get this, a full-time income planning department. So today, we will tackle that question number two and how we at Tony Walker Financial are well prepared to provide the answers savers are looking for. So if you're a saver, retired or nearing retirement, stay tuned because I'll be right back.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you have a 401k, IRA, 403b, thrift savings account, or lump sum pension that you'd like to move to safer territory? Did you know that all the money you see on your 401k statement isn't really yours? Depending on your overall taxable income, the government has essentially a lien on your 401k that can tax as much as 40% of your money when you go to take it out. Tony Walker calls this the 401k tax tumor. For over 40 years, retirement specialist Tony Walker has helped thousands of savers worry less about money by creating game plans to deal with your tax tumor. Get control of your retirement by controlling the taxes owed on it. Schedule a free meeting to see if you can reduce your tax tumor and provide a guaranteed income you can never outlive. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Here's a Tony Walker Financial 5-star review from Bill and Gail Nutini. We are so happy that we decided to hire Tony Walker Financial for our retirement needs. Tony and his very competent staff have been amazing to work with. We have the peace of mind that our investments are consistent with our goals. When the time comes, our heirs only have to make one phone call to Tony Walker Financial. To read this full review and more 5-star reviews like it, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Over the years, I have literally counseled nearly 20,000 savers, and over that period of time, one of the things I've noticed regarding the tax laws and savers' ability to use and enjoy their money at the least amount of hassle around these complicated tax codes is during a period I refer to as halftime. Now, halftime is officially designated beginning at the age of 59 and a half, and for tax purposes, runs all the way to age 73. Now, why these two ages, and why do I think the years in between them are so important? For tax planning purposes, that is the age between 59 and a half and 73. So why is this so critical? Well, if you think about it, if you were to take out money prior to 59 and a half, depending on how you do it, now again, we're talking about taking money out of those tax-infested 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, etc. If you take money out prior to 59 and a half, if you're not careful, there can be a 10% penalty on that money. So you have to really be careful pulling money out prior to 59 and a half. And of course, we can show you how to avoid those penalties. And then if you go past 73, that's the required minimum distribution age, the penalty could possibly be as high as 25% if you mess up and don't take out the appropriate amount that the government says you have to take out. So what's the point with all this? Well, at Tony Walker Financial, we recognize that this period of time, halftime as we like to call it, is the most flexible time to use and enjoy your money. The problem is the financial world doesn't want you to take this money. They continue to cast fear, doubt, fears of inflation, and what happens is I see most of these Pearl savers, they get to a point way into the second half of life, and this money starts accumulating to a point where they can't even use and enjoy it because at that point, it's too late. So that's you. If you are approaching 59 and a half or approaching age 70, just know that you are at halftime right now, and there's some wonderful tax planning opportunities for you to use and enjoy more of this money. So to find out more about our services at Tony Walker Financial, to go through a tax planning analysis, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or give us a call at 877-499-9255. Are you retired, retiring soon, or possibly faced with your company closing its doors forever? If so, take advantage of this opportunity to roll your 401k into something we call mailbox money.
Mailbox money!
For years, clients of Tony Walker Financial have enjoyed mailbox money, and now you can too by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-9255. Let us help you today.
Mailbox money is a reference to guaranteed lifetime annuity payments backed solely by the issuing insurer's claims-paying ability.
Well, welcome to our client spotlight here at Worry Free Productions, and with us in the studio today is Brian and Anita Ashley. Ashley's, it is so good to see you. It's been several years, actually, but it is so good to see you, and thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Yes, Tony. Thank you for inviting us. We're glad to be here.
If you remember, how did you first hear about Tony Walker Financial? Approximately how long ago was that?
It was 12 years ago come September, and we were just trying to figure out where we were in our long-term plan. We had asked you about when we could retire, and you turned that binder around to us, and I can see you right now. You said, folks, you can do this today. 4 days after we met with you, my company came out that I had worked for 42 years and announced a change to the retirement plan, to everything. And you had to retire by November 30th of that year. Tony, if we had not already been to see you, if you had not already laid out for us what that plan was and how that plan could work for us, we would have been petrified. I mean, we would have just gone lost our minds, wouldn't we? Because but man, when they did that, I just came home from work that night and I said, you know what? I'm not worried. Let's call Tony tomorrow, because we had already called you and said, we love the plan, said things have changed, and you set up an appointment for us. And I had to retire by November the 30th. We retired September the 13th.
Right.
Now, did you retire at the same time as well?
I just quit.
You said, I'm not letting her go by herself. I'm done too.
Looking for an advisor you can trust? Schedule your free phone call with Tony at TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 1-877-499-9255.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and something we take for granted. I've had a website, obviously, TonyWalkerFinancial.com for 35 plus years, I don't know, but in many cases, I'm finding out when I meet with people, whether they're listening to this radio show, they catch a YouTube video or something, but a lot of people are not going to our website. Now, why would it be important for you, the listener, to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com? Well, to help us understand the valuable information that's available at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. I've got in the studio my favorite son-in-law, Mr. Trey Juergens. Good morning, Trey.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, what about this website? I mean, we spend a ton of money on there, but what is so unique to this website versus maybe your typical financial website somebody might visit?
Well, it's designed for savers who are researching retirement planning specialists. We're looking for kind of the sweet spot clientele of ours, but also those people out there looking for someone that's going to help them take their life savings and lay out a game plan. We've got videos, we've got downloads, we've got so much information, all totally available for free. And it's the first stop to set up a 10-minute fiduciary phone call, but you can also spend probably hours of your weekend looking up videos and reading articles, different things on there.
And one thing we're really trying to push, I hate to say the word push, but we're so excited about this, explain the rules in the past with the SEC, who governs us, in terms of not being able to provide the customer testimonials about our service, how those laws have changed, and what we've got front and center on the website, that if I were a consumer, I know my wife says this all the time, I want to see what other people are saying about your services. So explain what's happened and why this is something people need to check out.
Yeah, so when I started working for you coming up on 9 years ago, I had a marketing background. I was all pumped up and, we've got to have so many good reviews. And you go, well, we can't really use those. And up until a couple years ago, it was illegal for advisors to use third-party reviews like Google reviews. And here lately, it's been awesome to be able to provide clients a place to share their experience. Fortunately, a lot of them are 5-star reviews, and we've put those all on the website. It's funny, we have clients, I saw so-and-so works with you. I worked with them for 30 years. And if they're saying you're a 5-star type company to work with, then that means a lot. So having the ability to have clients share their testimonial via review has been super valuable.
Well, what I've found over the years, Trey, and working with so many savers, is there's a real huge element of trust that savers rely on. I mean, one reason we don't work with investors and speculators, not that investors and speculators don't necessarily rely on trust, but they feel like they can do their own research. I can do my own homework. I can do my own research. I don't need Billy or Jane telling me who to work with. I can figure that out on my own. But I had a saver in yesterday, and you know what he told me? I'll say his buddy's name was Jim. He said, I work with Jim. To be honest, I don't know you from Adam. Jim has worked with you for a couple of years. Jim said, I need to work with Tony Walker Financial. So that referral, if you will, for him, the trust that Jim, his coworker, had, that sealed the deal for him. He wanted to work with somebody he could trust.
Yeah, it's a special thing when you have clients that refer friends, family, coworkers. I mean, not to say that those are our favorite, but if they know a little bit about our process and they come in and they know they're going to be treated the same way as someone that they've worked with for decades, it's pretty nice to have someone come in understanding what they're going to know.
And then finally, I would like to say this. Here I am. As we record this show, I'm 66 years of age. It comes up more and more. Hey, what happens if something happens to you, Tony? It is so wonderful to have you in the office. Wes is in this office. We've got Heather in the Bowling Green office. So I would encourage people to think about that before you work with an advisor, or maybe your advisor, I call it aging out. I mean, a lot of advisors are starting to retire. Put some thought into your retirement, folks, and think about who's going to be there, not just tomorrow or 2 years from now, but 5, 10, 15 years from now. And I think you'll find that Tony Walker Financial is well positioned to help you all the way through retirement. Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and for over 40 years I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To see if you can retire now, take advantage of our free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with me, Tony Walker, by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-9255. Have you ever wondered what truly makes retirement worry-free? Well, as someone who has worked for years in the field of retirement planning, I can tell you this. Being worry-free in retirement is not just how much money you've saved for retirement, it's how you are planning on using and enjoying this money without the fear of one day running out. And that's the beauty of what we call mailbox money.
Mailbox money.
It's a steady stream of income, reliable lifetime income, just like the pension my granddad once enjoyed. Hi, my name is Tony Walker, and if you're looking to turn your 401k or other retirement assets into a guaranteed stream of monthly income you can never outlive, let's talk. To set up a quick phone call with me is easy, and best of all, it's free. We call it the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. To get started, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call us at 877-499-9255. The fact remains that no matter how old someone is, the three main questions on the minds of savers entering this thing called retirement, there's one question today, question number 2, and that's retiring in comfort, that we're going to dive into a little more further. And we've got to help us on this subject, my favorite son-in-law and fellow fiduciary, Trey Juergens. By the way, the source of these invitations we're getting, folks, this is hilarious, is actually you.
Yep, right in my mailbox.
So, folks, you got to understand, you're getting these invitations. They're supposed to be sent to people over 55, generally over certain households, whatever, you're getting them. And you're kind of probably thinking, because I'm not getting any of these. So it's just kind of funny. This last one, though, it tickles me. More and more people are having seminars at libraries and universities, and they have these nonprofits doing the mailing. Yeah, folks, the nonprofits may be doing the mailing, but these are advisors who are looking to get after your money. So all I would say, if you go to one of these dinner seminars or whatever, please give us an opportunity to give you a second opinion before you potentially tie up money. All right, as Trey, you like to say, the essence of time, this Peak 65 article that you found for me, I'd never heard of this. What is it basically saying?
Yeah, so it's really no secret. The wave of baby boomers turning 65 each day is getting tremendous, and that's going to continue on through 2027. They refer to that as the Peak 65, or they also call it the Silver Tsunami.
I like that. So it's kind of like the graph we've showed before. It's almost like a bell curve, and I'm in that tsunami, I guess. The biggest wave of the baby boomers is really coming to the fray, correct?
Yeah, right now, between now and 2030, all baby boomers will turn 65.
And before we go into a few bullet points, speak to the fact of people who come to us, especially that have talked to other advisors, or maybe they're going it alone. And what happens? What is their reaction when they finally see our game plan? And speaking of the comfort level they have in knowing that we're going to be watching over that game plan.
Yeah, the beauty is if someone's been to a dinner seminar or one of these educational workshops, and then they come see us and they see a game plan, something actually laid out for them to take and study and commit to when they're ready, not if they ate that whole steak and they're like, oh, here, buy this. But it gives them something that they can truly read, understand, know how every dollar they've earned is going to be spent to use and enjoy over their retirement.
We had a couple that had been with me for years, and they were planning on doing some major changes, and just how quickly we could get on the same page with the game plan. And I thought about this. I thought it would take probably several hours without a game plan to go back and research, try to find our notes. Why did we even set these products up? What are we going to do with them? But for us as planners, it really helps us as well.
Yeah, I'm a visual person. I think most people, when breaking down finances and you can see it visually and have a game plan that lays out the whole income plan, it really does help.
Yeah, I'm visual too. I'm like you. It's probably why I created it years ago, because even me in my own world, although I'm pretty good with numbers, I got to have visuals to help back up the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
So real quickly, did this actually come from the article, these bullet points you're going to touch on?
From this article, some
okay,
other,
go ahead.
Based on different retirement studies around this same Peak 65 phenomenon. As I mentioned, 4.1 million people are set to turn 65 each year through 2027. Of those, 1 in 5 over the age of 65 are going to continue to work. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and I saw an article the other day. A lot of people are having to work. Now, some want to work, but some are just having to work because they realize they don't have enough money.
No, exactly right. 60% of older Americans lack adequate retirement savings. I don't think that's anything to be surprised about. There's a lot of people that do rely on Social Security. Healthcare costs are going to be a major concern. Also, those to care for those 65 and older. That's going to be a huge population that are going to need care. So another phenomenon that comes with more and more savers turning 65. Additionally, Social Security's uncertain future. We've covered that in past shows. Inflation, rising interest rates, nearly half of Americans risking outliving their savings. I know that's studies we've covered previously. And only 40% of Americans have calculated retirement needs.
My gosh. So folks, if that's you, if you're sitting there saying, yeah, I really don't even have a game plan, I can relate to what these guys are talking about, please give us an opportunity to talk. Why don't you log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started, or call us anytime for a free phone call at 877-499-9255. Good stuff, Trey. We'll be right back.
Here's a Tony Walker Financial 5-star review from Michael Hall. Tony Walker Financial laid out a terrifically easy-to-follow game plan. Tony Walker Financial really does alleviate lots of stress and worry from your life. Believe us, it is certainly one of the best decisions we have made to date. Thank you, Tony and team, for all you continue to do. And Kevin McKinney writes, Tony is the man with the plan. I highly recommend Tony Walker Financial. To read these and other 5-star reviews like it, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Let's join Tony as together we explore his inspirational book, Live Well, Die Broke. Today's chapter, Going, Not Yet, Gone.
Our Live Well, Die Broke chapter begins with chapter 1. And for those of you who are not familiar with Live Well, Die Broke, the concept was born not out of me riding down the road in 2020 and trying to come up with a book idea. It was reflecting back on my life, back on the many years that I've worked with people, and then watching this huge clientele that we have. Again, folks, nothing wrong with these YouTubers out there, but I've been doing this 40 years. I've been working with thousands of people years and years and years. So a lot of what I'm sharing with you is born out of experience. It's not just some stuff that I've cooked up and it sounds good to throw out on a YouTube channel. This is stuff I've lived with and worked with in terms of our huge clientele, most of whom are retired. So basically, the Live Well, Die Broke was born out of my spending a lot of time with my granddad. And I won't bore you with all the details there. I've talked about it. It's in the preface of the book. Incidentally, if you want a free audiobook version of Live Well, Die Broke, you can download it. Just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You can scroll down and you'll see a picture of it. Would encourage you to listen to the book. It's a great book just to ride down the road and listen to. But let's get to chapter 1. It's kind of an interesting chapter. It's titled Going, Not Really, Gone. Now, to set the stage here, you have to remember a lot of my thoughts on retirement are built around the idea of me watching my granddad, Bill Harden, retire. He was born in 1914, went to work with Bell South in 1932 at the age of 18, smack dab in a depression, retired in 1978 from Bell South. So he never worked with any other companies. As long as he climbed telephone poles and worked on engineering, moved up the ranks, he was promised something that most people today do not have, and it's called a pension. Okay, so all Granddad had, listen carefully, when he retired was Social Security and a pension, had a little bit of savings, and I think he had work to pay off his little home in Troy, Kentucky. But he was worry-free. He called his pension and Social Security mailbox money. This is a trademark term that I trademarked after hearing him call it that. I didn't understand at the time as a 18-year-old kid what mailbox money was, but I do now because I watched him, now looking back on it, enjoy a systematic income that he could never outlive. Now you say, well, where's the die broke come in? Well, you've got to understand, my grandfather was never worried about what he was going to leave one day when he died because there was nothing to leave other than a house. Because when he died, his pension died with him. He and Hazel died. So did his Social Security. So when you think about it, he didn't worry about money. He didn't have to worry about a tax tumor on a 401k because he didn't have one. He didn't have to worry about IRMA because there weren't any such things as Medicare premiums and taxes. All this stuff that you and I have to worry about and you need a planner like us for, he didn't have to worry about that. But now what was left was that little house in Troy, Kentucky that my mother had to auction off for a whopping $85,000. Now, what is the point with this, though? The point is, if you even look at the biblical aspect of creating wealth, we have gone from just enjoying money like granddad and not really worrying about what's going to be left when we die. In other words, we realize we're all going to die broke. You can't take it with you. To now we're in this phase of, as the Bible talks about, the phase of building bigger barns. In case you're not familiar with this parable, it's the parable of somebody who was very wealthy. Instead of enjoying his wealth, kept building bigger barns to store it in. The problem was he never got to enjoy it because at some point the gig was up. His number was called, life was over, he died broke. In other words, he didn't get to use the money. We don't want that to happen. So what we're doing is we're emulating my granddad. We're trying to set up your finances, your 401k, your savings, your house, whether you need trusts and all this stuff. Y'all got to be careful of all these trusts. You're all rushing out and getting way too many legal documents, in my opinion. But we're trying to keep life very simple. We're trying to keep your money positioned where you can enjoy it. And like granddad, listen, we got to have the mailbox money.
Mailbox money!
Folks, you got to have the mailbox money because under Live Well, Die Broke, it makes it all work. Think about this. If we're going to position this money, let's say you got $1 million 401k and you're going to turn it over to Tony Walker Financial to handle, we're going to be sending you money. We're going to force you to take that money out and use and enjoy it before it's too late. The problem is you potentially could run out of money. If we just toss it in the stock market or put it in a bank CD and spend it all, what if we time it out wrong and you're still alive and we have zero? That's a problem. So what we do with the mailbox money is we have that on the tail end, just like granddad's pension. So as you get older, the mailbox money is going to be there for the rest of your life, guaranteed.
To learn more about Live Well, Die Broke, visit TonyWalkerFinancial.com. While there, you can listen to the audiobook version absolutely free. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Looking for an advisor you can trust with your retirement? Don't leave your retirement to just anybody. See what others are saying about our services by checking out our 5-star reviews at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Of the 3 biggest questions on the hearts and minds of savers in retirement, today's question deals with the concept of being comfortable in retirement, which is different for different people. For instance, some of my clients can retire in comfort simply living on Social Security and a little mailbox money coming in every month. Others require thousands of dollars a month and a large 401k to be comfortable. Planning for one's retirement and all that goes with it, there is no one size that fits all. Yet, the financial world would disagree and instead always assumes you need more and more of what you've got to have enough, which might explain why you're getting bombarded from all of these financial fronts from a financial world who tends to create more worry and doubt than making you more comfortable in retirement. Yet, while comfort in retirement might be the goal, the worries of tomorrow tend to swamp the comfort many people are seeking for today. And quite frankly, those with a lot of money, guess what? Still worry about things in the future, which is why the late great theologian Charles Spurgeon once said, "Those who have money worry with it, those who have none worry without it." In other words, having a bunch of money doesn't always mean you'll feel comfortable in retirement. That's because we live in a real world with real troubles, which is why the Bible is so important to those of us who are looking to be comforted here on earth and need to be reminded that to be comforted about our future, we must be present with the Lord, not dependent on the world. Well, speaking of words of comfort, how's that going for you in dealing with a financial world who appears to be more concerned with getting more of your money than they are concerned with giving it back to you? Well, if that's you, get comfortable right now and contact me, Tony Walker, to schedule what we call the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And here's how easy it is for you and I to talk. Simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to click on that little Let's Get Started button, and we will arrange this free phone call. Then, after the phone call, if it looks like we can be of help, we're going to meet again at no cost or obligation. That's right, with yours truly, the owner of the company. We're going to meet in person at either our Bowling Green or Louisville, Kentucky offices. So do it now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or you can call us 24/7 at this toll-free number, 877-499-9255. Well, we're out of time for today's show. Now, remember, next week we're going to cover part 3 of the main questions savers are asking for retirement. But between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free and you make it a good one.